Hey guys, welcome back to the channel on The Amazing Warrior 23. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to upload this or not. We'll definitely see. This is something I talked about on my channel before. It was about like a year ago. I forgot what the title of the video was, but as you know, if you went through my channel and you don't see certain videos that you used to see on the channel before, that's because I made everything private. Just for personal reasons, but I made everything private, so you won't be able to see that particular video anymore. But what I'm going to talk about in this video is basically be about the same thing as I talked about before, but I'm still not entirely sure if I'm going to upload this or not. So about a year ago, and I'm not going to disclose any names just out of respect and out of courtesy and the privacy of that person, but about a year ago I had a friend that I been friends with when I was in high school. I actually met him through another friend, my best friend, my main best friend. I'm actually met him through him. We weren't really like close like that, like friendship type wide, like not to the point to where like that person will like literally do anything for you. We were kind of more like associates, but once we finished high school, I felt like we kind of grew out of that associate type of phase to where like, because he didn't really have a lot of friends like that around him, that he could trust. The people that he was friends with would always backstab him whenever they wanted to borrow something. They would never give it back to him, things of that nature. And me being the type of person, I don't like to ask for stuff. Especially when it comes to money or anything of that nature. I'm more of the type of person like I just don't like I just don't like to ask for money or anything of that nature, no matter how long I've known a person. And me and him, I was there for him like mentally, because during that time, one of his family member passed away, and I was there for him mentally, and emotionally, even though I wasn't there physically, but I was there for him emotionally. I will always encourage him, because he always would have doubts in his head, like he wasn't sure if he was going to graduate or not, and I will always encourage him to like keep working hard, turning your homework and stuff. You're going to graduate. I will always give him some sense of encouragement, always, up until graduation. As I said before, I never really asked him for anything, and I don't expect anything from him. That's fine. People got their own choices. That's completely fine from me. But when they, turn around and ask me for stuff, do something extreme, because at the time, he owned weaponry. He planned on ordering bullets, and at the time he was living with his parents. I'm not entirely sure if he's still living with them or not, or he probably has his own place. I don't know. He has me blocked. I don't care. But during that time, he couldn't, like, he wanted to order bullets, but he didn't want it to be sent to his address. So he asked me to, retrieve it for him, and he could come pick it up whenever it does come. Now, during that time, I wasn't entirely sure if I should be able to do that, because my family, my parents, they did not like weaponry around in the house, especially when it comes to bullet. That was just a number one rule that did not fly. And I told them that I can't do it. I would if I was allowed to, but I couldn't. And me being the type of person I am, I was like, okay, fine. I'll look out for it. I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up when it does come, and I'll let you know when it's here, so you can come and pick it up and things of that nature. I got in trouble for it, big trouble for it, and I had to pay for it, and I told him about it. He kept telling me, "Oh, I'm gonna make it up to you, this or that or whatever," things of that nature. And just to make a long story short, because I don't want to go on and on and on, talking about just nothing, but just to make a long story short, and just paraphrase a lot of things and just get to the point. I felt like mainly he would reach out to me only if he, wants to brag about what he got or he bought or things of that nature. I will always be there to listen. But it seemed like the only time that he really reached out to me is if he's planning on getting something or buying something, or he's having issues with somebody that he likes and trying to get with, and things of that nature. And he always asks me questions like, why nobody want to get with me, why nobody want to do this, why nobody want to do that. And I always tell him it's all about finding the right person, finding the right girl. You'll find somebody one day. Just keep your head up, keep your hopes up, and just keep looking. That's what matters the most. I will always give him that sense of encouragement, until one day he made it seem like he told me all these things, and he made it seem like, I'm not the only person that he can really trust. And when he made it seem like that's the case, like, I feel like, okay, I should be able to feel somewhat comfortable to ask him something. We hung out, one time or whatever, but it was fun though. But he still gave me that sense of security of me thinking like, okay, we are, close friends now, and we known each other during that time, at the time, 4 or 5 years now, and I feel like we've grown closer as friends. So I didn't really see any problem. And this is coming out of his own mouth, telling me that you're the only true friend I have, this or that, all these different things to make it seem like I'm his true friend, all of these different stuff. And and then one day I asked him, can I borrow something, because I was having issues with my car, things of that nature or whatever. So I just asked, I borrowed something. I knew that I was going to be able to pay him back. I already knew. And at first he wasn't really being too responsive, and then he kind of was getting a little bit hostile, things of that nature. Now I just want to point out to you guys, he's not obligated to give me anything. I know that. I know some of you guys might go in the comments, say that, oh, he's not obligated to give you anything, I don't know why you getting mad or anything like that. You're right. He was not obligated to do any of that, but it was the whole principle of the situation. I'm gonna get to it in a moment. So I asked him, can I borrow something? He was asking me some questions, well, before he started asking me questions, he was, getting a little bit irritated because he was busy doing his own thing, and he felt like I was picking at him or whatever. And I was letting him know, like, I apologize, whatever. And I told him the situation, and then I told him, that's when I asked him, okay, can I borrow something, whatever, right? He started asking me questions. Okay, what do you need it for? When I'm going to get it back and stuff. How much did you need? Things of that nature. And I told him everything. And he was like, that's fine, that's cool. I'm willing to help and stuff as long as I know that, I'll get paid back. Fine, all fine and dandy, right? Fine and dandy. And then he started asking me these different, because I was using the money to give me an iPhone or whatever. To pay to give me an iPhone or whatever. iPhone, I think at the time, iPhone 14 or whatever. So yeah, I asked him to borrow money so I can, pay a down payment for it or whatever. And then he just kind of came out of the gate, be like, you can afford this, making all these slick remarks, things of that nature. Really rude remarks. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, he was making a lot of these rude remarks towards me and stuff like that. Let me see. Still have the messages. Still have them. Because I don't remember everything, So let me just go up to... Okay. Alright, I already told you he was getting irritated. So I, was reaching out to him about it. So, it was the 18th, 2023 or whatever. I was like, sup? Well, hold on. Let me go back up. Give me one moment. Let me go all the way back up. Okay. So, June 18th. So, I was like, hey, bro. I need a favor from you. You think I can, you can lend me this amount of money until, I get this refund back to my account? Because I was supposed to get refunded back from, a purchase that I made a while ago at the time. And I told him it comes back in 8 to 10 business days. Once that comes, I can pay that back to you, the refund that comes back to me. And then, on Messenger, this is on Messenger. On Messenger, you can tell if somebody read your message, obviously. And I'm mentioning this because I know some people don't use Facebook or Messenger and doesn't know. So on Messenger, you can tell if somebody read your message or not. And I sent him 2 voice notes or whatever, because during that time, sometimes he'll be up late, like 1 a.m. in the morning, things of that nature. Because I would see him online, and he was like, "Yo, I'm sleeping." And then I said, "I've seen your story on Instagram at the bowling alley or whatever." So basically, he lied right there, talking about now he's home now, or whatever. I don't remember the whole thing about the bowling alley thing. I don't know how long ago that was at the time, but all I know is what he was saying did not match up to what I saw on his story. So I said, "Did you see what I messaged you about?" And he said, "Yeah." And then I said, when did you see it? And be honest. And he said, "Everybody asks me for money, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do, to be honest." And like, I was like, "Who's everybody?" you know? And I was like, "Listen, man, like, I know you asleep and all, but do you have a little time to talk on the phone? I just want to get something off my chest." Because during that time, I was starting to feel this type of way. Like, he just, I don't know, he was basically, like, he lied to me, first off. And now he's just basically brushing everything off. I was feeling this type of way. And so I was about to give him a piece of my mind. So I was like, because it's crazy how I'm so quick to help you out with something, referencing to the whole bullet situation and other things. It's crazy how I'm so quick to help you out with something, but if you need something or need something from me, but when it's the other way around, it's like a no, or I don't got it right now, but 2 or 3 days later you send me something that you're planning on buying that costs like almost $1,000. At the end of the day, it's your money and your choice, but if we're not on that level money wise, just let me know. I don't ask you for much. I barely do. When you asked me if you could send me your bullets to, my address instead of yours, I didn't mind allowing you to do that. I could have said no, which I did, said no, but then I changed my mind because he was my friend and I wanted to do him a favor. And I did at first, but changed my mind. We've known each other for years, and you tell me I'm the only real friend you have at that moment? Well, it doesn't feel like it. I understand you also have other obligations, and that's fine. But it seems to me, or it seems that to you, despite that, you still find ways to still get the things you want, and I hope you look at my perspective of the situation and not take it as an attack, but understanding why I feel the way I feel. But if you don't, that's cool as well. But our friendship won't be the same, meaning that I won't be helping you with things, won't go to places like the mall and things like that. And I was telling him, you are a good person, friend-wise, but when it comes to money, it's a whole different story. Now, it's not about, like, okay, I'm not just, like, it's not about, it's the principle of the whole situation. Like, he comes to me, brags about his money, things of that nature, tells me that I'm a good friend, things of that nature, have the nerve to ask me to do something that I specifically told him I couldn't do based off how my family felt about it, but I still did it anyways because he was my friend. It was a situation, it was the point, like, that was the first time I ever really asked him for anything, and he couldn't even really do that, even if it was something so small to do. He was always finding excuses and things of that nature. And like I said, I don't want you guys coming in the comments telling me, well, that's his money, you can't be mad, things of that nature. That's cool, that's fine. Continue listening. You'll see what I mean in a moment. He was like, how much did you need though? And I told him how much I needed, and that's why I told him that I was going to pay him back within 8 to 10 business days, because that was the time when I was going to receive a refund back. Just a bonus note there, I ended up receiving the refund back that same day or the next day after this whole situation or whatever. And he said it seemed like you in a rush and begging me. He used this word, begging and things of that nature. All I asked was just to borrow something. Me begging is simply saying, please, 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 please. I don't do that. I don't even like asking people for anything, let alone money. So if somebody says they can't do this or can't do that, I'm going to be like, okay, that's fine, thank you, and move along with my day. I don't sit there and beg, And he was like, it seemed like you're in a rush, begging me over here, texting me when I'm sleeping, and he wasn't even sleeping. He was literally at the bowling alley. I literally saw his story. And every time I give people money, they never pay me back, and those were friends I no longer than you have. and I have trust issues giving money. And I was basically telling him, dude, I'm not your other friends. If I know I wasn't able to pay that back, I wouldn't have asked in the first place. But I don't want you to think because I'm expressing how I'm feeling, it's considered begging. To him, me expressing my feelings to him, it felt like he took it as me begging for expressing my feelings towards him. And that was his problem. And he was like, dude, you have to realize I've been in some crap. It sounds like you begging because you blowing up my phone. You have to realize that. What about your girlfriend? Can she help you though? Just asking. And I was basically telling him, no, I'm not blowing up your phone. Blowing up your phone is, what would I say? No, blowing up your phone is say, I need money, I need money, I need money. I wasn't doing any of that. And I did. She said if she could, she would. But that's not the point. I should be able to ask my friends too. Just because I was with somebody, I'm currently not now, but just because I'm with somebody does not mean I can't ask my friends or other people, my family. My girl at the time, my girlfriend wasn't the only person that was relying on to ask for stuff like that. And he was like, well, I was sleeping not too long ago. Well, falling asleep, man, or whatever. Okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. That's fine. That's cool. And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna let you go back to sleep. But trust me, bro, I don't need to beg you for money. But it was obvious that you saw my messages and decided to ignore it. So I messaged you expressing my feelings. At the end of the day, I can always wait until that refund of mine come back on my card. No big deal. I know you have trust issues, but you should know me by now. I wouldn't ask if I wasn't able to pay back. Simple as that. And he was like, I'll keep in touch with you in the morning. Don't worry about it. So the next morning, June 18th, 2023, yo, what's up? He was like, I heard you talking crap on Instagram. Nobody was talking crap about you. Yeah, you is. I'm playing. Are you okay? Okay, he was joking at the time. Okay. I was kind of thrown off by that because when he was saying I heard you talking crap, that was after the aftermath of what happened, which I'm going to get to in a moment. I know I keep saying to get to the moment, but it's a lot here to unravel, so it's not really a quick thing. So yeah, I'm straight, bro. And he's like, okay. He was like, you still need help? I was like, it's fine, bro. Like I said last night, I said it's fine. Like I said, bro. I said last night, I never want you to look at me as begging. Now, waking you up last night was uncalled for. You right. I could have waited, so I apologize on that. He was like, you sure? Because last night my brain was half asleep, which I can understand. Alright? I mean, if you're still willing to help, it's cool, but hopefully you are doing it because you generally want to, not because you're obligated to do that. And he was like, you've been there for me though. See? This is coming out of his little mouth. You've been there for me. But then contradict everything towards the ending, And I was like, of course, I'm gonna always be there for you no matter what. I think this is the same thing. But I got Cash App, so if you don't download it, if you can't download it, or if you can download it, I can pay you back like that. And he was like, okay, how long would it take? The refund comes back, 8 to 10 business days, So what is wrong with the card? Ask me these different questions and stuff, like really irrelevant type of question. I'm not gonna say irrelevant. I mean, it's understandable, whatever the case is. But he was asking so much questions, dude. But it's fine though. I didn't really, dwell too much on it. And I was telling him, about the whole iPhone 14 thing, whatever. And he was saying, I see. And I was like, yeah. So once that's refunded back, I can, pay you back, or whatever. And then this is when the problem starts to unravel to where like he started judging me. He was like, but why in the first place would you buy an iPhone 14 but don't have money to really buy it and try to resell it? You have to pay the phone off before it becomes yours or whatever. He was like, how much did you pay for it? And I was like, don't worry, bro. I have ways to pay that back. I didn't pay, things of that nature. And he was like, not adding up. You realize you need to, like, why does it matter? Like, I'm the one paying. This is not your situation. This is not your call. I'm the one paying. Stop. Why are you worrying about what I do with it? I didn't say all that to him, but that's what I was thinking in my head. I was like, yeah, I know, but I have ways, and just know that when that comes back on my card, I'll be able to pay you back on Cash App. And he was like, And then at that point, hold on a second, give me one moment. my bad. So, and yeah, at that point, about a couple of hours later, I was like, hey, bro, it's fine. You don't gotta give me anything. Because he was just asking a lot of questions. He was kind of um, judging me pretty hard, because it's like, it's not your concern. I told you what I was going to use the money for, and things of that nature, but he was going like off the rack, judging me basically, and I was not going to stand for that at all. So I was like, hey, bro, it's fine. You don't got to give me anything. I'll wait until it comes back on my card. It's crazy how I'm getting chastised or scolded about what I do with money. Are you willing to help or not? If not, say no. If yes, respectfully, please don't scold me about what I do. I don't even want it anymore. Enjoy your weekend. Now, it wasn't about the money at that moment anymore. It was mostly it was the principle of the whole situation. He was scolding me. He was chastising me. Like, if you're not gonna borrow it to me, just say no. Don't give it to me. That's fine. But don't chastise me and scold me about what I do with it. Just know I'm gonna pay you back. That's all that matters. Why, And he was like, bro, I'm busy. I'm busy, bro. Shut the f up. You over here pissing me off and stuff. Just shut the f up. You over here keep asking me. You should have never got that phone. Think blah 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 blah. And then I was like, it's cool, bro. Don't even worry about it, bro. Just don't ask me for nothing anymore. And he was like, I know your big head ain't talking. Why buy stuff you can't? And then I think that's when he ended up blocking me or whatever. And let me see. I don't think I can find him on Instagram. I have to go down my list or whatever. So, just to wrap everything up at the ending. Basically, we did end up talking again, and I was basically telling him, I don't think we could be friends anymore. It was the principle. I was basically telling him the same thing I'm telling you guys. Like, it was the whole principle of the situation. It wasn't even about the money anymore. It was the simple fact that you were chastising me, you were judging me, you were scolding me, you were making me feel bad about why I need to borrow the money. It was the whole principle of the situation, and I told him I felt like I don't think we should be friends anymore just because of that situation, because I should be able to talk to you and express my feelings to you without you feeling like I'm begging you or doing the most. And that's what he always made me felt like doing. So I just told him at that point, that's fine, things of that nature. And then he was like, oh, I'm not mad at you anymore about blah. But yeah, we can't be friends anymore. Like, he was saying it as if he was telling me that we can't be friends. No, I'm telling you we can't be friends anymore just because of how you reacted towards me. And so I just told him, you have a good rest of your life. I wish you nothing but the best. And at the time, he wanted to be a doctor, getting to, the doctor world or whatever, make that 6-figure. And I was like, I told him I wish you luck and much success becoming a doctor. And I told him you have a great life. And I blocked him from that point on or whatever. And in the back of my mind, in my head, he will always talk about like why these females, they always get with me, break up with me, or don't want to be with me. I can see why. I didn't say that to him, but I was thinking in the back of my mind, I was like, I can see why now, because how you are. You're full of ego, and he knew he was wrong, but with him, he was just so full of pride and ego, and maybe that's how he was raised or grew up, and things of that nature, and plus bad experiences with friends and the loss of one of his family members, things of that nature, that could probably play a role into how he was acting. But it's never an excuse. Don't treat the people that were there for you as crap. Don't do that at all. But yeah, I just kind of pretty much ended everything on that note. And wished him, the best of luck in life and much success of becoming a doctor and becoming what he always wanted to become. So, yeah, that's that story. That's the video that I did about a year ago. That's what I did. I was talking about that, but I don't think I really went too much into details of what happened exactly. I think it was like 10 minutes long, but I don't think I cover everything that I needed to say or need to speak about. I'm not even entirely sure if I'm going to upload this or not. I would have to definitely see. But if I do, then I do, I guess. But yeah, just let me know down in the comment section, guys. What do you guys think? Like, just your unbiased opinion. Tell me, what do you guys think? Do you think I was in the wrong? Do you think he was in the wrong? Do you think I was doing too much based off what I was telling you guys? Like, what do you guys think? Just give me your unbiased answer. But yeah, I thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen. I really do appreciate it. I hope everybody have a great rest of their week, and I'll definitely be seeing you guys in the next video. And if you want to see more of my content, make sure you subscribe and turn on the post notifications to get notified whenever a new video or content does drop. And yeah, take care, guys. Hey guys, another thing that I wanted to add, I'm not just making this video just based off of story time, but also to make other people aware that you can be friends with somebody, or that person can make you feel like you're their friend for years. They can tell you all this stuff like, hey, I trust you, you're the only friend for me, but you're much more of a better friend than anybody else that I was ever friends with. But then turns around when crap hits the fan, then their true colors show. Them judging you and things of that nature. And just get friends that you should be able, that will allow you to express your feelings to them without making you feel like you're in the wrong. Because if you're friends with somebody that makes you feel like you're in the wrong, they're not your friends at all whatsoever. No matter what they say, whether they say that you're my most trusted friend, I got your back, things of that nature. Because with this dude, he would say these things, but then at the same time, he would say like, you're my friend, but you're not my closest friend, things of that nature and stuff. Just get friends that will be there for you, emotionally, mentally, physically, and not just be there because just to draw a conclusion of the situation based off of my experience and my perspective. I don't know how you guys feel from your perspective, but I feel like he was just basically only using me in a way, I don't know, but I feel like in a way he wasn't really my friend. He didn't really care too much about me like that. He claimed that he did, but it didn't really feel like it. And based off his ego and stuff, he knew I was right, but his ego would not allow him to admit that he was wrong. And I think he was just so stuck on the fact that he wanted to be right. That's what I was getting from the whole situation. But the lesson of this story is to find friends, as I said before, find friends that would genuinely care about you for you and would not make you feel like what you expressing your feelings to them is wrong, or try to guilt trip you and gaslight you. That's all I'm saying. And if he, and this goes out to you, if you ever do watch this video and listen to this, I have no hate towards you in my heart. I don't hate you. I still care about you. You're a good person, and like I said, it's been over a year. He probably did changed his ways. He's probably a whole different person. I'm sure he is. And I don't have no hate in my heart towards him no more. Well, I never had hate in my heart. I was angry at him. I was upset the way he was acting, but I never had hate in my heart towards him. I don't hate him. I wish him. The world is your oyster. Everything is in the palm of his hand. What you can do, you'll make it happen. And that's how it is for him. And I wish him nothing but the best in life, to succeed, to make his dreams come true. That's all that matters. But that was pretty much it, you guys. I'm sorry. I just wanted to really say that. I felt like the video wasn't really complete without me saying this, so I had to get it out there. So yeah.